the morning of December 9, 1980, Paul McCartney was informed of John Lennon's tragic death, which had occurred just hours earlier at Roosevelt Hospital in New York City. Lennon had been shot outside his residence at the Dakota shortly before 11 p.m. the previous night. While the entire world mourned the loss, the emotional impact was even greater for those who had shared personal and professional bonds with Lennon, his family, close friends, and fellow musicians. Given the prominence of Lennon's inner circle, the media quickly turned their attention to those closest to him, eager to capture their reactions to the heartbreaking news. McCartney in particular became a target for press inquiries, and years later he would express regret over how his immediate response was misrepresented in the media. The immense fame of the Beatles often obscures the reality that, beneath the global stardom, they were human beings navigating deep and complex relationships. For McCartney, receiving such devastating news about a friend with whom he had shared both creative highs and personal tensions, especially during a period when they were not on the best of terms, was profoundly distressing. To make matters worse, his grief played out under the relentless gaze of the public. Reflecting in a later television interview, McCartney explained that he was emotionally overwhelmed by Lennon's death, perhaps more than many might have realized. However, he admitted that expressing such sorrow publicly had never come easily to him. He recalled how, on the very day of Lennon's passing, a journalist had suddenly approached him for a statement. Still in shock, McCartney gave brief and restrained answers. Archived footage from that encounter shows McCartney being questioned on the street. His tone was clipped, his demeanor visibly uncomfortable. When asked who had delivered the news to him, he replied only that it came from a friend. As the questions continued, whether he had spoken to the other Beatles and whether he planned to, his responses remained short and subdued. The McCartney seen in that interview was a familiar one, guarded, reserved, and clearly eager to exit the conversation. His body language, chewing gum, avoiding eye contact with the reporter, reflected the discomfort of being asked to speak about something so personal, especially so soon after the event. Eventually, after a few terse exchanges, McCartney made a comment that would be widely misunderstood. Referring to the situation, he remarked, "A drag, isn't it?" Then abruptly, he ended the conversation and walked away. This offhand remark would become a lightning rod for criticism. The press portrayed it as dismissive, suggesting McCartney had responded flippantly to the death of his longtime bandmate. However, in his later reflections, McCartney made it clear that his words had been taken out of context. He insisted that in that moment, overwhelmed by grief, he simply couldn't find anything else to say. He noted that neither George Harrison nor Ringo Starr had been able to make any public declarations either, as the loss had been far too personal and painful for all of them. McCartney expressed frustration that the media had sensationalized his response, repeating his words in a tone that made it seem as if he had been indifferent. He emphasized how important it was to be cautious in those moments, acknowledging how easily such statements could be misinterpreted and distorted.